Welcome to Suvarna's educational channel. We have started this channel in order to enlighten everyone.
Hello children, welcome back to social class. How are you all? Hope you all are happy and healthy. Before to begin our session today, keep all your requirements ready so that whenever I pose questions to you, you can answer. Children, today you are going to learn 13.1, that is Democratic and Nationalist Revolutions 17th and 18th century. This is our 13th lesson. I have divided this lesson into 4 parts. We are going to learn today first part. Let's quickly see the objectives for today. By the end of this session, you will be able to learn forms of government by Aristotle in 3rd century, England, the Glorious Revolution or Bloodless Revolution, American independence 1774 to 1789 and French Revolution. Let's see the forms of government by Aristotle in 3rd century. There are 6 forms of government by Aristotle in 3rd century. They are monarchy, aristocracy, good democracy, tyranny, oligarchy and bad democracy. Monarchy is nothing but here there is only one person who rules the country as the monarch, as the head of the country. In aristocracy, we have a group of noble people who rules the country. And good democracy, it is the people who choose their leaders. And according to Aristotle, from these 3 forms of government, the rest of the government had emerged like tyranny, oligarchy, bad democracy. Where in tyranny, the monarch rules the country by force. There is no people's choice, no freedom for the people. In oligarchy, a group of people who rule the country. And in bad democracy, there is no order, there is no peace. Why I am saying about these forms of government? In our 13th lesson, we will be also seeing some of the rulers who follow this type of governments. Let's see England, the Glorious Revolution or the Bloodless Revolution. England, like any other country, it was ruled by the queens and kings in the beginning of 17th century. And all the regions of Britain, England, Wales, Scotland and Ireland united by the Tudor dynasty. Tudors refused to accept the authority of the Pope, who was the head of the Roman Catholic Church. And here what happened? This is the beginning of the British nationalism. Why? Because the people of British, they considered themselves that they are distinct, different from other people, and they wanted freedom from the Pope and the Roman Catholic Church. And there was conflict between Parliament and kings. Let's see how this conflict had emerged. There was elections held and landowners and rich merchants had voted and elected the representatives of the parliament. Now we have 2 parties, King's Party and Parliament Party. Let's see how this conflict led to a democratic government in Britain. In 1603, James I became the king of Stuart dynasty. Repeat after me, children. In 1603, James I became the king of Stuart dynasty. He disputed the powers of the parliament. What were the powers of the parliament? Parliament had to give the permission for the kings to go for the wars and for collecting the taxes from the people. Therefore, he fought with the parliament and he considered himself that absolute powers were given by God to the king and parliament had no right to object kings whatever they do. This was the first dispute. Later on we have Charles I who had succeeded James I. In his time, there was long parliament, which means 11 years without parliament. He was not concerned with the parliament. In all these 11 years, he had spent his money from the treasury for himself, and the treasury of the country was empty. And now he had to intervene the parliament. How? He had asked the parliament to give him to fight wars with other countries. Now, what is the response from the parliament? The parliament did not accept it. And later on, Charles I was defeated and all his ministers and officials were arrested. Parliament did not like the way Charles I had done. Therefore, even though there was long parliament and decided to control despotism of the kings and his ministers, and it started to revolt against the king. Finally, he was punished, okay, and all his ministers, officials of Charles I were abolished. Special courts that were created by the King Charles I were abolished, and there was the start of the civil war. What do you mean by civil war, children? Civil war is nothing but war within the country. Between whom? Between the parliament party and king's party. Therefore, this lasted for 5 years. Charles I was defeated and executed in 1649, and England became a republic. When was Charles I defeated and executed? In 1649. And when did England become republic? In 1649. Therefore, the Republican government did not last long, even though it had fought civil war within the country and then got republic. But still, this Republican government did not last long. It had asked William of Orange in 1688, William of Orange in 1688, to take the throne of England. Because of this invitation, what happened? New arrangements were made, which says that the powers of the king were restricted. Thus, parliament supremacy led to democracy. All these took place without shedding blood. That's why it is known as glorious or bloodless revolution. Glorious or bloodless revolution. What do you mean by glorious or bloodless revolution, children? After Charles I was executed, England became republic, and this republic government had sent an invitation to William of Orange to take the throne of England, but restricted the powers of the king. And all these arrangements took place without shedding the blood. That's why it is called as glorious revolution or bloodless revolution. Children, during this time, even though it became a republic, parliament had full rights and king's powers were restricted, but still voting rights were not given to all the people. Only the rich people who owned the lands and the merchants who used to vote. Who were the people who used to vote, who had the right to vote? Only the merchants and the people who used to have lands. So common people were agitated, started to raise their voice that they too wanted to participate in voting. Therefore, in 1832, voting rights were executed, and by 1928, right to vote was extended to all sections of people. I repeat, children, in 1832, voting rights were extended, and by 1928, right to vote was extended to all sections of people. Okay, children, hope you all have understood England, the Glorious Revolution, and also forms of government. Okay, children, here is a small task again. I'll provide you 1 minute of time. Please start answering to the. Okay, children, hope you all have understood till now whatever is taught. Here is a small task for you. I'll give you 1 minute of time. Start answering to the questions. Excellent, children. Have you all written correctly? Here are your answers. Please check if they are correct or not. The next comes the American Revolution. The American Revolution. Let's see how this revolution caused independence in America. The American War of Independence took place between 1774 to 1789. Since England had developed colonies on the eastern coast of North America, 13 states of colonizers had been established there. So most of them were occupied by people from England. Therefore, the parliament passed laws that favored English traders at the cost of the colonies, and also English parliament assumed powers to make laws for American states. It's not fair, isn't it, children? This English people were settled in America and they had dominated the colonizers, the native people. And even the parliament were passing the laws in favor of the traders, not the people who were living in America, the natives. So at the cost of the colonies, English parliament also assumed powers to make laws for American states. That was a pathetic situation there. Therefore, there was slogan raised by the Americans, no taxation without representation. Since they were not taking part in any of the assemblies, so they said they will not pay any taxes without representation. In 1774, representatives from all colonies except Georgia met in protest at Congress at Philadelphia. They requested King George III to restore to the colonies their previous rights. The king's attempts to suppress the colonies led to armed clashes between the British and the American soldiers. And therefore, the Second Congress also tried for a peaceful solution. You need to note down this, children, very important. The first meeting was at Philadelphia, and also second meeting also was held in order to solve the problem peacefully. Therefore, the king regarded this an act of rebellion. The king did not accept the proposals of the Americans. Therefore, he declared war in April 1775. Note down, children. The war was declared in 1775. The Americans finally won the war in October 1781 with the military assistance of France. Now, French people also had given support for the Americans financially and also military assistance. The War of Independence came to an end with the signing of the Treaty of Paris in 1783. Please note down, children. The War of Independence came to an end with the signing of the Treaty of Paris in 1783. Therefore, the Declaration of Independence was announced and it was adopted on 4th July 1776 during the third Congress at Philadelphia. There were 3 meetings. This is the third meeting, that is third Congress at Philadelphia. There was a Declaration of Independence. Then Thomas Jefferson was the author of the Declaration. Who was the author of the Declaration, children? Thomas Jefferson. In 1789, the national government of the United States of America adopted Republican Constitution. The division of powers between states and federal government, which was introduced with efforts of Thomas Jefferson. This is the Republican Constitution. Therefore, a Bill of Rights was adopted for guaranteeing the freedom of speech, religion, and the rules of law were enacted. Once again, I repeat, children, a Bill of Rights was adopted guaranteeing the freedom of speech, religion, and the rule of law were enacted. This paved way for the establishment of the United States of America. This paved way for the establishment of the United States of America. This is the Bill of Rights. You can observe these 2 pictures, children. The first image is called as Columbia, which was replaced with the second image, Statue of Liberty, to symbolize USA. Next, the French Revolution. Let's see the causes for the French Revolution. In 1774, Louis XV ascended the throne of France at the age of 20. He got married to Austrian Princess Mary Antoinette. So the new king felt that the treasury was empty because France helped Americans in revolting the war against the common enemy, that is Britain. Who is the common enemy for France and America? Britain. The only alternative to increase the financial status was to increase taxes. French society during 18th century was divided into 3 states, and only members of the third estate paid taxes. You can see in this flow chart division of society during the 18th century. First estate people were people of clergy. Second estate people, noble people, nobility, that means kings and queens. And third estate people belongs to businessmen, court officials, lawyers, administrative officials, small farmers, artisans, very small farmers, laborers, servants. Now the problem here is the first estate people need not to pay the taxes, and the same thing for the second estate people, because they all belong to the noble family, and clergy because they belong to the highest part of the hierarchy during 18th century. Therefore, taxes were paid by only third estate people. Only third estate people. Third estate people were businessmen, court officials, lawyers, administrative officials, small farmers, artisans, very small farmers, laborers. Therefore, now the problem arose for the third estate people. What happened? If the king increases the taxes, who had to pay it? First and second estate people, they need not to pay the taxes. But the third estate people, they were obliged to pay the taxes. Therefore, there was a problem. And also, about 60% of the land was owned by the clergy and also by the noble people. And the first two estates people, that is clergy and aristocracy, enjoyed the privilege acquired by birth. Therefore, the church extracted the tax from the peasants. Its share is called as tithes. Repeat after me, children. Tithes. The tax that is extracted from the church is called as tithes. And they were exempted from paying taxes to the state. Who were exempted? The church people, clergy. And peasants had to pay 10% of taxes to the state. These include direct tax called tile. Repeat after me, children. Tile. The direct tax from the state to the people, 10% of taxes they need to pay. So these were called as direct taxes. Number of direct taxes were levied on articles of every day. Okay, children, let's quickly see the new words in the lesson. Livres, unit of currency in France, discontinued in 1794. Tithes, a tax levied by the church comprising 1/10 of agricultural produce. Tithe, tax to be paid directly to the state, nobles, rich landlords, king's family members. Okay, children, here is a small test for you. Please start answering the blanks. I'll give you 1 minute of time. Excellent, children. Answers are given below. Please check your answers if they are correct or not. Excellent, children. Let's quickly review today's session. You have learned about the forms of government by Aristotle in 3rd century. That is 6 forms of governments. And you have also learned why the glorious revolution in England called as bloodless revolution. And also you have seen the reasons for American independence and the French Revolution. Here is your home assignment. Start noting down the questions. Excellent, children. Hope you all might have understood whatever is taught and might have enjoyed the session. We will meet with more interesting topics. That is outbreak of the revolution and also growing middle class and so on. Keep waiting for the next session. Till then, take care. Bye. Stay home. Stay safe. Happy learning, children.